You know, my relationship with Gene Bailey and Flashpoint has been going on ever since the early days of Trump and the battles of January 6th. And then we went through, oh my gosh, the COVID wars. And I've been with him for a while, but Gene and I got together and we did a one-on-one. And I want you guys to just catch up on the latest conversation with my beloved brother and tormentor, Gene Bailey.
Show number one, Flashpoint. Show number one. I don't know why I did this, but I only had one guest, and we've got that guest with us tonight. Welcome back to the show, Lance Wallnau.
Hello, Gene. Gene, see if your producer can put that card back up with all those speakers. I want people to see something here.
Okay.
See, the more people Gene has, and he's adding people all the time, the less work he has to do. I want you guys to get that.
Yeah,
so
of course.
He's got all of us. He's adding constantly. And I'm going, Gene, you got 5, 10 speakers here. He's going, yeah, isn't it great? Then I figured it out.
Well, and not every one of those is there for both nights. Is that right, Kurt? Not everyone's there both nights?
Oh, yeah.
So
well, isn't that fortunate for us?
Yeah, so you have to. So don't be like saying, hey, I want to come on the somebody on this night or that night. So, you got to
that's right. It's a mystery
figure it out.
Who's on.
It's a mystery, mystery tour.
It's a mystery to us.
It's a mystery to us. It's a mystery to me. These guys ask me, what are we going to talk about? I don't know. We'll go out there. We'll figure it out. That's not true.
This is live. This is like live television, people.
Yeah, this is, we don't make it up. We have some things. We go where the flow is. See, look at this. Look at all this. Spencer's worked so hard on all of this stuff that we may not use, that we get it all together. So that's where it is. All right, I want to start the conversation.
You
Lance.
have it, but your guests don't have it. That's the point.
I know, that's the best part.
What gets me crazy is he has subjects. We don't know, but he does.
Well, because I want to go. See, now let me tell you the story about Lance. He comes on and, Gene, what are we talking about? So while I give him the highlights, he's over there while I'm talking to another guest, getting more info, and he goes ahead of the game, spoils the next zinger I've got.
Oh, come on, Gene. You know that's hardly how this works.
All right, well, enough frivolity. Let's get serious.
All right, what's topic number one?
We're going to talk about economics. Your Seven Mountains, and I want to get your take, and in all seriousness, Lance, on what's going on with the Fed. Watch.
Just got the news right now, so the central bank will keep those rates steady. That's exactly what we expected, despite the president calling for interest rate cuts. And as you were talking about, how are the markets responding? The S&P 500 hitting an all-time high this morning. Now it looks like right now it seems to be retreating. The Fed cut interest rates, as you know, 3 times last year. The Fed is keeping the federal funds rate in the current range of 3.5% to 3.75%. That's the rate at which banks charge each other for overnight loans. So what exactly does this mean for you, the consumer? The rate is then the benchmark for what they charge customers. When the Fed raises rates, they didn't today. For example, credit card interest rates go up. So in this case, your credit card interest rate should be unaffected. Getting back to the president and the Fed, there's been an ongoing feud between President Trump and Fed Chair Jerome Powell, with Powell accusing the president of threatening suit and investigating him over the multi-billion-dollar renovation of the Fed Reserve headquarters here in D.C. So the president saying the cost could reach $4 billion and calling this a disgrace. But Powell saying the price tag is actually $2.5 billion and accusing the president of trying to apply pressure to force rate cuts. So the Fed will meet 2 more times this year before Powell is finished up in May. And the president says he expects to put someone in the spot that's actually going to cut rates.
All right, so, Lance, give our audience a primer on understanding why is this a big deal? I want to know from you, should he have cut or should he have stayed? Should he have done exactly what he did?
Look, here's the thing. The Democrats have one issue, and it's even a bad issue. It's affordability. Charlie Kirk made the case before his death that the president has got to pay attention to the affordability for housing for the under 30 young people, because the number one issue Charlie's running into at Turning Point, let alone on the campuses, is the appeal of socialism. We got to realize The Democrats are like a demonic takeover.
Yeah,
Whatever territory you give them, they'll grab it. It's like a curse. They'll grab whatever the devil. So here's the deal. If we don't make capitalism work for young people as they're being recruited to vote, they don't have any allegiance to free enterprise. They're not taught it. Remember, the schools got taken over a long time ago by the left. Social media, socialism, you'd be shocked. That's what they think it is. They think social is kind of like more community, right? They don't realize that socialism means less freedom for you, more power for the government. And so what Powell is doing is he's going slow. Trump said, I'm going to fix the economy. I need to get the affordability for housing down. I need to do it before the midterms, and you got to work with me. Now, I knew that Powell and Trump were really going to get to the place they're at now. When you remember those pictures you got where Powell and him are going through the building?
Oh, yeah.
You and I covered it that night on Flashpoint.
Right.
Because Trump goes and pulls out a piece of paper. He goes, hey, you're really over budget here. You're really over budget. And Powell's he grabs it. He goes, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. And the two of them are live on television. Trump was like making him squirm over, how come this building's so expensive? And let's face it, $4 billion when the country is trying to learn austerity and we've got all this entitlement and $32 trillion in debt. And the Fed is saying we need a $4 billion palace like Versailles, France. It's the wrong message. So this relationship was in rocky waters. I think, personally, Powell comes from the globalist background and the uniparty thing, where he's just going to constantly resist Trump's recovery because he's hedging his bets that the economy may not fully bounce back, and he doesn't want egg on his face. Meanwhile, everyone else suffers because he could lower the interest rates, and he's not doing it. He doesn't have to resign, but Trump is pressuring him. When your term's up, I appoint the next guy.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think and that was a great description there, Lance, because I don't think most Americans really understand new homes drive so much of our economy. And yes, we have younger kids, not younger kids, but our kids are younger, trying to buy houses. I mean, and it's almost impossible. They have to make so much money to even qualify for a loan with the rates are so high. So this is...
Well, like the average age.
Yeah.
And I get it. I get why Charlie Kirk said.
It was right.
You're not going to have a future president that's going to be a capitalist. Mamdani is a warning. Charlie kept saying, this socialist, Islam, Marxist merger is dangerous and its potential in America because the average age for a homeowner is now 40.
40.
Used to be in your 20s, you get married,
Yep.
and she's in an apartment, you're in an apartment, you're out of college, you move into an apartment, but by 30, you're planning on having a home. If you can't promise that, then don't bet on your kids having I guess our Flashpoint Army is a little different, but on the whole in America, kids have no allegiance to a system that they think is being gamed, so that the older people are getting the houses and they're getting the short end of the stick.
Well, that's a good point. Well, since you brought up Mamdani, let me show you what he said.
We are speaking about a fiscal crisis at the scale greater than the Great Recession. And so there will not be one single thing that can answer that crisis. It will require us to pursue every single avenue. That means looking inward into savings and efficiencies. That also means raising taxes on the wealthiest New Yorkers and the most profitable corporations. And it means recalibrating the relationship with the state.
Oh, he did it all in about 25 seconds. There you go. He's raising your taxes, New Yorkers. There it is. There it is. And this is the same playbook, Lance. Every time, and these guys are openly Democrat, Socialist, party. This is putting the people in New York on odds. And I don't know how New York can handle it, how the city or the state can handle that kind of hit, because they're already leaving.
Well, here's the part that concerns me. When you listen to Mamdani, you're listening to the Newsom, Obama, slick talking Democrat of the future. And he's saying this is a self-created crisis in New York. Remember this. This is New York's crisis, not America's crisis. He's saying we're experiencing a fiscal crisis of unprecedented proportions. Yeah, self-created, and maybe if you guys weren't constantly fiscally irresponsible, you wouldn't have the kind of debt structure that you've got. Now it's going to get worse because you're a communist, and so you're going to raise taxes like Newsom. They're going to raise taxes on the wealthiest, and guess where the wealthiest end up going? Florida, primarily, not Texas. And so what's happening is there's going to be a migration, but that doesn't matter. This is the part that ought to concern us. They thrive off of chaos. They thrive off of economic anxiety, because economic anxiety moves you down the chain, like Maslow's hierarchy, into becoming more fear motivated and then more resentful of, and then see, reverse populism, Gene, is what we got to worry about. Both Bernie Sanders and Donald Trump were playing a unique track. They were talking to the independents and the people that aren't usually in the political system, saying it's rigged. The whole game is rigged. And Donald Trump got a hold of it in a healthier way, making America great again. And he rode and he's riding a populist engagement. It's the working class, blue collar, Midwest, Rust Belt, deindustrialized places where China got the jobs. But don't forget, that same populist narrative the left looked at and said, we could play that card if the economy ever collapses. Oh boy, everybody's populist then, because then they're frustrated with the system.
Yeah.
It failed us. We know Trump's our fighter. Even though they try to disengage us from him, we know the old man's a fighter, and they tried to kill him and lock him up. He's got our allegiance. But in the future, what are we going to do? Can Vance hold that argument if the economy starts going down? That's why we have to really think through what the game is they're playing.
Well, you bring up Vance. I want to ask you about Vance, JD. What do you think, what does he need to do? He's obviously the guy on deck. So if he's going to secure the nomination first and then hopefully the election, what is it that he needs to be doing? Because we don't know where he stands on a lot of things. We just get little bits and pieces because he's not the president. He's the next guy. What is it that he needs to be doing, Lance?
Well, here's what I hope he has to do. Now, I know our side's not going to like this, but it's assumed that he's going to be the next president. I think he ought to fight for it. Because what happens in a primary is you got to stake out your position.
Yep.
He better give us a better satisfactory position on where he is regarding like Israel and life and religious liberty. He does a good job at Turning Point in Amerifest. But I want to see him. It would be healthy if DeSantis and Rubio got in the game and he started talking about, what's good about him is he's the most intelligent and articulate defender of a Judeo-Christian worldview. That's a plus. Trump really did something. Trump he's not the intellectual. He's a communicator like Rocky. He just hits you and that's it.
Yeah.
But you need someone that can engage a Newsom in the argument area. But he has to earn it, and he has to move closer, and he's with Tucker. I mean, Tucker Carlson's son is on his staff. And I did a straw poll. Let me tell you something. Rubio may be, or JD may be more popular because he's the biggest fundraiser, and he's got the biggest platform, and, the Turning Point crowd likes him. But I'll tell you what, on our straw poll with charismatics and Hispanics, Rubio scores high, which is why I'm saying he better be on the ticket. And JD has to prove that I love Don Jr., but he's not the old man. I want to know where you stand on the Jew. I want to know because I do believe that there is a anti-Israel, anti-Jew, anti-Christ, anti-Christian spirit rising up with Islam in America. And I want you to solidify that position. And I don't want you to do it easy. Primaries make you stake out your position.
That's very well put. And I agree. I like Rubio. I think, boy, this guy, being the job that he's doing as Secretary of State, I mean, he's done a phenomenal job. And he's bright, has had a chance to showcase the depth of his knowledge and understanding. He's done a great job. I would love to see a little challenge, and who knows, DeSantis could give it a shot.
Well, let's see. Let's have we got people watching this on various channels, as I have friends on YouTube and different places, and what is it, Rumble and stuff. People should sign. If you're like, who do you like? Just do a straw poll now. Are you resonating with what I'm saying? Are you a Rubio guy? Are you a Vance guy? Is there somebody else you want to see? Because I'm curious where the Flashpoint army is on these things.
Yeah, we'll put it in the, just put Lance, Rubio, Lance. Put Rubio, Vance, or...
Yeah, don't get me in any more hot water than you normally get me into.
Vance or DeSantis in the comments. Who you like, and we'll tally them up and talk about it here.
Hey, what's DeSantis going to do? He's such a great governor. Let's admit it. I'm in Texas with Abbott. Abbott only does stuff after DeSantis does it first. What's next for him? I mean, if he's not in the executive branch, where does a great governor like that go? They ought to make a rule in Florida. You should have a let the guy have another term if he's excellent.
Well, he's done a good job. All right, so I know we're not saying this is who we want. Rick Green's not on here. Rick would say DeSantis, so.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, so, but let's, do you look for a J.D. Vance Rubio ticket, a Rubio DeSantis ticket, or Vance DeSantis ticket? I don't think DeSantis would be willing to play second fiddle. I think all three of these guys feel like this is their shot.
And the problem with Ron is like he's a buddy of mine, like, hey Ron, like we hang out a lot. But the problem with Governor DeSantis is that he's a brilliant technician in the execution of a MAGA conservative governor's role. I mean, look at Florida. Florida's like, man, it's like shining as an example. They're dealing with election fraud. They deal with crime. They deal with immigration issue. The problem is he doesn't have that quality that comes across on television and in communication, not as naturally as, I mean, let's face it, I don't want to keep going back to the same reference, but when I watched Rubio at the Kirk Memorial, I thought, dude, dang, I haven't heard preaching like that in the Pentecostal church.
That's right.
He just in 2 minutes nailed it. And I said, he's not doing that from a script. He's doing that from the heart. And I thought, you know what? We need, and Marco's just getting a report. Look at the joke is they got, they're going to make him president of Cuba shortly. He's going to take over Venezuela too and run it for Trump. The joke is the guy is multiplying competencies and he's not screwing up.
No, he's not. He's doing an amazing job. Well, it's definitely an interesting time. Now, with Hank, when Hank was on, he had a word about that J.D. Vance would be tested somewhere during this term, and how he handled that test would determine. I'm paraphrasing. So I mean, there's a lot of moving parts. I think it's very interesting.
We can figure it out, Gene. It's going to be Israel.
You think it's Israel?
Sure. What else could be tested at? He's not going to buckle on Christianity. I mean, he's got his line.
He hasn't really said anything about Israel that I remember. Have you seen him? Has he stood up for Israel?
Oh, he dances in the middle. Don't forget, he had to speak at Turning Point between Tucker Carlson and Ben Shapiro.
Yeah.
And how did he do it? He just basically said, I've got friends on both sides of the issue, and I'm for my friends. That's not good enough,
Yeah.
Saying we need to be on the same side here, guys, or we'll never beat them. Yeah, I agree. And I said that for a while. I mean, it's a shame that Mark Levin and you guys, I mean, not our whole audience isn't in this world, but I'm in it. And, where Levin and Bannon are fighting, because I love both of these guys. And but Tucker and Shapiro are at it all the time. And it's true. We should stop the circular firing squad because the left is starting to eat our lunch with their wicked, distorted news narrative in Minnesota. So we need to get it together. So Vance is right. We need to stop shooting each other, but he ought to lay down. Hey, I get the anxiety Christians have about Israel because there's evidence in the Bible that God has a unique relationship with the land of Israel. And if you divide his land, you have to be very careful about the stories of history and what happens to nations that become the enemy of Israel. And the anti-Semitism is alarming. I mean, we want to hear that. And I think that's the test. I don't think we're going to hear that. But that's why a primary will force it out of them.
It's true. And what role does Usha play in his decision making. That's the odd one.
Yeah. It is, isn't it? I mean, like, and frankly, we got so many rednecks in our movement. It's like, it's sad, but it's true. I got to convince them to make sure they support Vance because they won't like the fact he's got a Hindu wife.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, well, hey man, I think the guy got saved and more mature in his faith after he was already married.
Oh, definitely.
Definitely. And so what the Bible says, let the unbelieving spouse stay with the believer, for who knows whether the believer will save the unbeliever. So in this case, it's just a matter of time. And it's weird, like Erica Kirk is close to her. So I doubt that Erica's going to go Hindu. I do think that the Hindu witness is going to experience a lot more of that love of Jesus from Erica Kirk.
All right, we talk about anti-Semitism and what all that does, which is such at record levels. I want to get to this before we go to the break. Last week, this happened at Chabad headquarters on Eastern Parkway. Let me just roll the video. Watch.
What are you doing? What is he doing? Randy. Yo! What's wrong with the guy? Someone. Good. Yo, you're gonna get killed. Get out. I'm gonna kill you. Whoa. Officer. That's him? Yeah, that's him. Stop him.
All right, so thankfully nobody was hurt. Here was it. Now you saw the whole video there, Lance. But his defense was he kept slipping on the ice.
His defense was he thought it was a drive-through.
Yeah. And of course, this is New York. Where else? And you see the guy get out of the car. He's not running away. He's quite happy to be.
No, he's an activist.
Yeah.
What's his name? Did they give you a name?
Yeah, is Bruce Hashem. Baruch Hashem is the Chabad headquarters. There are no there are no injuries. Witness report the driver. No, I don't have a name. People are saying he's been arrested. Updates to follow. So we'll find out, in what's going on. But here's the thing. This is New York. Look at people are standing around with their iPhones and their camera phones trying to take video of it because they can't believe this guy keeps doing it. And he's having a difficult time. He gets up, he gets in. Oh, I'm slipping on the ice. That's what it was. This would not happen if he really felt, if there were some concern that he would be prosecuted. Or the other side of this, is he Islamic terrorist wanting to create terror in the Jewish Chabad? I mean, there's a lot of things to question here, Lance. But this shows you
it's
the temperature.
Obvious. Listen, we're going to deal with this more and more. You're going to have Islamic acts of violence in New York and in Brooklyn because they're opening up the door. Hey, this is how us Pentecostals think. If you guys want to know how theology works on our side, they've opened up the door to an Islamic invasion. So you're going to have more anti-Semitism. There's more Jews in New York than there is in Israel, I'm told. Well, if God's going to regather his people in Israel, I guess there's going to be anti-Semitism showing up in New York. Remember, I said that. And the reality is, knuckleheads like this who don't get made an example of for acts of anti-Semitism and put in prison and followed up on, it emboldens other knuckleheads to go and grab a media moment. Someone needed to take a car and go right behind him and wedge him right into the door and not let it out, just so that he couldn't keep backing up and doing it. But just, filming it and recording it is not enough. There's something about the nature of lawlessness that if it isn't made an example of, it grows. And so we're in an era now where that's being tested. Did you read what Matt Walsh said about Don Lemon? Did you get that one?
No, I did not.
All right, I got to read it to you real quick here, since we're having this long-form conversation. So, Don Lemon got arrested.
Yeah.
Right? So, and we're happy for that, because Don Lemon went in to the dang church, and he went in knowing ahead of time. He made a video ahead of time celebrating his breaking in and embedding himself with a radical leftist group, which is now going into churches. So Matt Walsh said this. He said, "I'm very happy that Don Lemon was arrested, but there's one extremely important caveat now that it's been done. He has to be convicted and sent to prison for an extended length of time. If he's not convicted or not seriously punished, then this whole thing is an unequivocal win for him. It makes him a martyr and 10 times more famous with no significant consequences. Lemon was totally irrelevant prior to this. Nobody watched his show or even knew that he was still alive. Now he's relevant again. He's almost certainly going to get another job in cable news on the heels of this. The only way to make this a win for the good guys is to punish him severely. Make the reward of fame and martyrdom not worth the cost. If you don't do that, you should never have arrested him in the first place." Because what Don Lemon says is, he says, "Come on and get me. Make me like Jimmy Kimmel." See, Jimmy Kimmel got a bounce off of being insolent. So this is the rough part about living in a day of lawlessness. You have to make sure that lawlessness doesn't win, because once it starts winning, then lawlessness increases.
So his name is Dan Sohail, Muslim from New Jersey. That's the guy.
Well, now I just wanted to know, not surprising.
Yeah.
I mean, not Bruce Smith. It's a Muslim from New Jersey.
Yep.
Who came up to go target a Brooklyn synagogue, like they were really, a threat to him in New Jersey.
Yeah. All right, we're going to take a break. We come back, we'll dive into, get Lance's opinion on the election process. Atlanta, Fulton County, all that stuff happening on the other side. See you in a minute.
It's finally here, our second annual mega sale. This sale only comes around once a year, so take advantage of the best offers ever while you can. For example, save 50% on our Giza Dream bed sheets, as low as $29.98. And for the first time ever on TV, MyPillow mattresses and MyPillow mattress toppers, as low as $99.98. And you save 50% on our Lux Pure 6-piece towel sets. Regular $69.98, now only $39.98. And our best-selling standard MyPillows, regular $49.98, on sale for $17.98. Wait on it, mega sale, only $14.98. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use this promo code to take advantage of our second annual mega sale. But wait, there's more. To make the mega sale even more special, when you order right now, your order's going to ship absolutely free.
Let's go to Fulton County. Look at this, the number 7, guys. FBI agents have finished executing their warrant at the Fulton County Elections Office. This was last week, but we didn't get to it last week. We've now officially departed with roughly 700 2020 election ballot boxes. Did you see that? Watch.
May look like random truck boxes, but Jason, explain to us what is currently happening 10 feet away from us.
Yeah, David, this is a beautiful day. We've been trying to get these ballots, everything from 2020, pretty much since 2020. We've been told time and again, everything was fine, don't worry about it, why are you investigating 2020? This happened so many years ago. You know what, if there was nothing to hide, they would have showed us years ago. Now we're gonna find out. These trucks are on their way to Virginia. They're going to be out of state very soon, and it is time to get to the bottom of 2020.
So basically, it's about 700 ballot boxes from the 2020 election, because again, this is the Fulton County Election Office. Today, FBI executed a search warrant where they seized essentially those 700 boxes.
Everything.
And now they've officially left. This is the train, as we'll say, that's on the way, hopefully, out of Georgia.
In safe keepings.
Exactly.
All right, 6 years, Lance, but I got to show you this before you comment. This is the guy that is the Fulton County chairman. He says the ballots are now out of his control. Watch.
Now they have been removed from this facility, out of our control. We don't know where they're being taken. We don't know what's going to happen to them. So we can no longer, and I can no longer, as chair of this board, satisfy not only the citizens of Atlanta, but the citizens of the world, that those ballots are still secure. So that is a major concern that I have right now. Again, my point is, once they were here, as long as they were here in control of Fulton County, I was confident that they were safe and secure. And the other point I'd like to make, this goes back to the 2020 elections. For the life of me, I still cannot understand the fascination about the 2020 elections, which occurred 6 years ago. That election is over with. That election has been reviewed, it's been audited, and in every case, every instance, we get a clean bill of health. If there's anybody who knows what happened in 2020 on that night at State Farm Arena, it was Fulton County Commission Chairman Rob Pitts. I was there. So the fascination with this, I still don't understand it, but we'll have more to say later.
I just want to say that Fulton County Department of Registration and Elections is always and will continue to maintain fair, transparent, and accurate elections. And we will continue to do the work of the electorate here in Fulton County. The FBI is still in the building. We have fully complied. We will always comply with law enforcement and with the rule of law. And that's what we do here in Fulton County. And that's all I have to say.
Mr. Pitt,
how concerned are you? So how concerned are you voter information will be compromised?
Okay. There's a reason you don't know where they're going, because you did nothing with them for 6 years. We don't want you to know where they are. We have no control. We don't know. Can't understand why people are upset about 2020. I mean, I cannot vouch for that's great. We're thrilled they're out of your control.
It's so funny at so many levels. I mean, first of all, these are obviously not two neutral parties.
Right.
Not two citizen watchdog people checking election integrity, but two Democrat officials in what is arguably one of the top three, along with Maricopa County, top three most controversial, potentially criminal counties and questionable counties. But then the line that's so funny to me is, while these ballots were with me, they were safe. But now that they're not with me, they're not safe, which implies that they, if you hear somebody come back and say, hey, 20% of these weren't counted right, don't blame me. They're with them. When they were here, everything added up, but I can't account for it. So it's almost like it's a preemptive wash of when they were here, but now they're not with me, so I don't know what they're going to find. I mean, probably like dirty cops, they're going to plant a bunch of Trump voters in there for all I know. The other thing that gets me is, isn't this where they had 300,000 votes that weren't properly signed off on in the documentation, which means 300 inappropriately entered votes that weren't authorized to be 300,000 votes in a state that where 13,000 determines who wins, 300,000. And they go, well, yeah, but Raffensperger, who's in my opinion as corrupt as anybody, he brought the Dominion stuff in there, so he shouldn't even be in the conversation. He goes, yeah, we checked it out with the tapes we have. The machine tapes? The machine tapes say those 300,000, they're okay. If you have 300,000 votes that were not properly logged and properly processed, that's why you go grab 700 boxes to go check out that 300,000.
And listen, this was extended because they asked for those to be turned over. They would not do it, so they had to subpoena and sue to be able. They act like they're such law-abiding citizens. No. Yeah.
And the senator in Georgia calls it political retribution.
Yeah.
This is their new line. You know how we wanted this? I don't know what the heck's going on with these guys. They want the Epstein files. Well, that was even before the stolen election. But this was 2020. I mean, come on, forget about it. It's so far in the past. I mean, I don't know why you want to find out if the CIA killed Kennedy. It's so far in the past. I mean, who cares? Well, we do care, because the stolen election in 2020 could be a stolen election in 2026, and we don't want to see it happen.
All right, so Lance, you and I have talked some about this on the air, but it's worth revisiting. So looking at America, what are the hot spots? key races that you see that we need to be focusing on?
Well, here's the interesting thing. We've got 30 seats in Congress out of the, the 400 or some races. We have key Senate races. We got key governor races. And it's always going to come down to, like, I don't know why, like in Maine. Here's a weird thing about politics. For all of you that are ready to gag, just endure this thought. We've got some Republicans we don't even like Lisa Murkowski up in Maine. She's up on the ballot. We don't want to lose that Senate seat to a Democrat, so she's the only one up there who's running. So we got to support Lisa Murkowski. Now, she's going to sit there and be saying stupid stuff about ICE needs to be, pulling back and stop doing what they're doing. She's going to constantly be a thorn in the flesh. But about 90% of the time, she votes on these other issues along with the president. So you've got, like in Maine, you got her in the Senate. So we got to show up for. We have two, my friend, in Michigan, two congressional races that the Democrats will take unless the Republicans work together. And here's the newsflash. The Republican Party in many of these states, and Rick Green will tell you, it's a disgrace. You think it's deep state in Washington? We're not. We've slept while legislators have become state senators and state legislators, and we got a lot of really not MAGA people that are involved with these local state infrastructure. Texas pretty much is constantly in the hip pocket of the Democrats here. We got to always fight that. And in Michigan, they have a fractured Republican Party. Two key races for Congress. I'll tell you in about 2 weeks, I'm having a special, I already know the debriefing, but I'm having a special meeting in D.C. with some people. And we'll come back, Gene, and I'm going to give you what I believe are the 4 or 5 states that we need to prioritize, because we can't cover 50 states. No. We can't cover 30 campaigns. And if you and I tried to, we're boiling the ocean. But there are 4 or 5 key states where you might have a trifecta, meaning it might be a governor, a congressman, and a senator, and the church better show up there, or you'll end up like crazy Minnesota.
Yeah, without a doubt. And we're going to do our part, ladies and gentlemen, to get this thing turned around. And, we've talked about going there to these states. If we can work it out, we'll team up with Lance and others, and we'll do our best to maybe Chad Connolly get involved, and we'll do our part. I know you'll be with us in what we do. All right. Is there anything in what's your gut say about the midterms? Do we keep it, or do we lose control?
Well, like I said, I was with the president last time I was there. He prayed. We went to go pray. The pastors go in and pray for the president. It's kind of an interesting thing. It's like a school trip. And we prayed for him, and he brought up midterms. And we prayed, and he literally said, pray for the midterms. That's a serious issue if you're going to pray about anything, because he knows that if they seize the gavel I left that meeting with Ralph Reed, and I don't think Ralph would mind me saying this. And I leaned over to Ralph. I said, Ralph, you're the most informed guy I know on the election. What do you think? He said, look, if we don't get it together in 90 days, and that was a month ago, he said, Lance, it'll be a bloodbath. He said, look, the left is doing no King's marches all over the country. You give them a Flashpoint in Minnesota, and they will show up with the BLM Antifa activists, and they'll cover it favorably on the news. He said they want this so bad. They hate Trump that much. He's exerting so much influence that they'll crawl on glass to get him out. But then he said this. He said, but what do you see on our side? He said, our side's not focused. I mean, even all the pastors I was with, great men of God, but they're doing pictures in the Oval Office with Trump. Yeah. And then worse yet, the best Christians I know right now are all excited about the 250th anniversary. I get that. But you know what? It's a midterm year. And I'm not excited about us preaching to the choir about how great America is on the 250th, while the left is out planning on running the ballot machine, the harvest machine, without voter ID, and they're going to make sure they win like they do 83% of the time on midterms. And I want to see that reverse, Gene. So I'm not going to roll over on it, but I'm telling you, unless we have a Hail Mary in terms of focus, even on election integrity, like the SAFE Act. Everybody ought to Google it up. Look up the SAFE Act, do a, chat GPT, and realize that our side, Senate and Congress, we're still sitting on a voter ID act that might save us in the midterms if we can eliminate the illegal votes, but we don't even have a lot of momentum behind us there. And we have a lot of weak Republicans that won't take the heat. So the base has got to make that happen. Certain senators right now are the key to getting the SAFE Act through. And unless they feel the heat, they won't do it. By the way, in Texas, we got an interesting race, John Cornyn. And Ken Paxton, I guess, is working the primary. You got any thoughts on that?
I like Ken Paxton. I don't know. I don't know. What bothers me, I don't know if bothers the right word, is this the race that we need him to win? And that's, I'm just not sure. I'm just not sure this is.
Well,
we'll see.
He's a bit of a rascal, but he's our rascal.
He is.
And the one thing about him, he's like Ulysses S. Grant. This man fights.
He does.
I mean, he's a fighter. And I'll tell you what, like I said before, if I don't want Cornyn, he is, I'm just giving my own opinion. This is an opinion of the show, just my own personal opinion. But the guy's a history of being like part of the system. But Paxton, man, we need a great vigilante senator like that. Would be super. But you know what? If worse came to worse over the course of 4 years, and Pam Bondi keeps getting hit the way she is because she's not marching these people out, for the perp walk that needs to happen, I think Paxton would make a great, attorney general. This guy's a fighter, and he's the kind of guy that would be a nightmare for the left. He's valuable. Anyway, I'm bringing it up because that's another part of the midterm. It's going to be a very dramatic election.
Yeah. All right. So, here's the thing. You mentioned Cornyn. You mentioned Texas. So let me show you this headline that somebody sent to me. I think it was Frank Gaffney sent it to me. That was in the Texas Tribune. Anti-Islam rhetoric takes center stage in the Texas Republican primary. Ladies and gentlemen, Islam, if you live in the state of Texas, we need to understand what we're really dealing with. In fact, let me show you this imam who says their goal, well, just watch, listen.
Muslims living in Western secular democracies. We're talking about Europe, Canada, America, Australia, just the Western secular democracies, that's it. What is our goal as a community? What is our final result that we're aiming for when we're living here? Establish a khilafah where we live? Do we wish to turn America and England into Islamic republics and states? Or do we wish to convert the entire population? Our goal living amongst all of you is to wipe away your religion and to replace it with Islam.
Okay, well, there you go. That's their goal. Wipe out your religion and replace it with Islam. And it seems to be taking center stage, which is an interesting choice of words. Those of you that saw the word from Tim Sheets about giving Jesus center stage again in church. This anti-Islam. I mean, we've got a lot of work to do here, Lance. The church can't remain silent. I thought 24 was important. And it was. This is every bit as much important as what we went through in the presidential election. What do you think?
Listen, man, when you're guarding the cabin and you're on a long-distance flight, every leg of the journey is important. I don't want Al-Qaeda to get in the cabin for one leg of the journey.
Right.
Because the one that they're in, they'll crash you. So, and that goes for, that's, in my opinion, that's the whole progressive left. We have to guard the government cabin because we don't have separate spheres. We don't have, the country cannot survive a progressive takeover of the legislative and the executive branch. Its policies with open borders and open spending will bankrupt us. It'll be a judgment of God if they are able to regain control. And we're just in midterms, everything but the executive branch of the Supreme Court, they could possibly get the Senate and Congress if we don't wake up. But here's something interesting. The founder of the Islamic movement in the United States just ended up getting a speech that got surfaced similar to this, where he spelled out that if we start in 2025 or 2026, 4 years from now, we can be scholarshipping enough young people, young men, so that 4,000 new journalists, filmmakers, lawyers, political science, and history students will come out. In 20 years, the Muslim community will have 50,000 attorneys, 50,000 journalists, 50,000 filmmakers, and 50,000 professors. We're going to write our own history, write our own narrative, and soon enough, we'll have 50 members of Congress, 5 senators, and a Supreme Court judge. That's the blueprint for Islam in the United States. So, you know, I talk Seven Mountains and they call me a Christian nationalist.
Yes.
I back up and they stop calling me a Christian nationalist. Islam comes right out and says, we're going to scholarship. And these are 5 mountains out of my 7. Who aren't they scholarshiping? Family and church. Because they already got the synagogues, 4,000 of them. So, I'm sorry, the synagogues, the Islamic
mosques,
centers, the mosques. The mosques in their blueprint are apostolic centers to take the 7 mountains. My God, it's the closest thing to a parallel of what we're supposed to be. We should be discipling America by advancing spirit-filled, wise citizens into the gates of influence in media and in entertainment. They have a blueprint to do it. And I just got so provoked today. I said, I'm going to start going to people that have the wealth and say, why aren't we doing this? They have a better, more cohesive plan for discipling America than the church does.
Yeah, you're right. They sure do. But we're going to rise up. We're going to keep pushing, and we're going to keep waking people up to do it. One thing I wanted to get your take on, real quick here, Lance, is Greenland. Should the U.S. take it or not?
Of course, the U.S. doesn't have to take it. The U.S. has to, kind of like with Venezuela, we have to assert our hemispheric presence to the point where we're able to see the 50,000 people that are on that vast land, augmented by American presence, military presence, and protective presence. Because right now, with the Arctic seas opening up, you know, and this, the globe rewrite, already Russia and China have. You see, what Trump realizes that the American knucklehead doesn't is that Russia and China already look at the world in terms of taking America out. Remember the BRICS nations?
Yep.
Russia and China want to de-dollarize the world, crash the American economy, and then come into our hemisphere, both from Venezuela and from Cuba and from Greenland, enclosing right into our soil, and Alaska, by the way, the Russians. So Trump is saying, I see what your game is. I'm tracking your nuclear subs. I see your military bases. I'm going to go to that vast territory that Greenland with 50,000 can't populate and Denmark can't protect, and I'm going to be the shield for it. And in exchange, the precious minerals that I need to build this engine of democracy to protect the Western Hemisphere, instead of being at the mercy of Africa and China's one belt, one road, I'm going to mine those resources right out of Greenland, and I'm going to drill that oil, baby, right out of Venezuela, and I'm going to protect America so that after I'm long gone, America will have military and energy dominance and will be able to live, so long as the Democrats don't take over, you can live in peace.
Before we go, I want to get you a chance to, we got like 4 minutes here. Lance, I want to give you a chance to wrap up. What do you think?
Well, let's see. It's interesting today. Of course, this will play whenever this plays. But the Doge process is continuing to go on, Gene. And what's kind of a couple of things that are on my mind with the last 4 minutes we got. One of them is that they've shut down 1,000 DEI-run diversity businesses, meaning 1,000 businesses that were awarded contracts. One lady who was a homeless lesbian was given a $19 million contract for creating apparel, evidently, for the government. And I don't know for what agency. She was designing clothing. She had no background in clothing. She had no manufacturing, but she was a homeless lesbian and got awarded $19 million. Well, the government now is saying, look how slow this is. It's like even after Doge, they're saying, we want a report from all 1,000 of you minority or, meaning DEI businesses, trans and gay businesses. And what are you doing with the money we gave you? And 1,000 businesses have not responded. So they're doing an audit, at least saying, well, how many employees do you have? There's 1 or 2 employees. That's about all. Getting millions of dollars in, theoretically, in entrepreneurial startups so that we're helping build some advantage for the poor and oppressed, minority, DEI people. So that's a big piece for me. I just found that out this week, and it shows you, this will get shuffled away. But this is what Pete Hegseth calls the Beltway bandits, the people that are making billions of dollars off of gaming the system. And the other thing we'll have to talk about at some point is why the media never liked the Melania Trump documentary. The Melania Trump, 30 days before the inauguration, Trump played it there at the Trump Kennedy Center. There was a big rollout. But the USA Today came out and said, their article said, it's a patriotic duty to slam the documentary. You have the most fashionable, beautiful, since Jackie Kennedy, Glamour magazine first lady, and the major and Vanity Fair and all the magazines have decided to block any story about her, and it's patriotic to make fun of it. Think about that. And they say it in their paper.
I'm telling you what you're doing. Exactly.
Did you enjoy this latest episode? Please remember to share it with your friends, because the more knowledge you have, the better equipped you are to navigate the world.